Hello and welcome to Literary Lark episode 10. So, it's been a while since I've updated the podcast. I've been kind of busy. We've got NaNoWriMo this month going on, which we're going to talk about in this episode. This episode is actually going to be titled Three Tools to Help You During NaNoWriMo. But before I get into that, I'll just get into just some of the quick things that are going on right now in my writing space. So recently, just this past weekend, I had a local author fair event that was really kind of cool to meet some local authors and support them, and got to sell some books as well and meet some readers that are very much eager and fantasy readers, and it was a fun time. And I recommend that if you are an indie author, that you reach out to any kind of local events that there might be. With mine, it was a library event, and I'll probably maybe in a separate podcast just talk about a little bit of what goes into my planning for author events and just how best to capture people's attention and to network and get the best out of it, because it's really, local events, live events are not, you're not going to be selling tons of books at these things. They are specifically, I think, for networking and connecting with readers, finding, getting a little exposure for your platform and your brand and your books, but not, I never go into it thinking that I'm going to sell just, boxes and boxes of books. That's not how it works. So, I'll probably get into that more in another episode, but for now, I will have a link in the show notes for one of my guest blog posts at the Right Life that really kind of digs into the things that you should be doing when you're doing local author events. So that was a lot of fun. I'm currently current projects right now are I'm totally into getting the Blade Air sequel written. I've been using this month, National Novel Writing Month, to kind of up my word count and get into that. It hasn't been going as good as I wanted to, but I'm getting more writing done than I have in the last few weeks here. So it's been a definite motivator, and I think for any of you listeners that are or watchers, if you're watching this on YouTube, that are writers, it definitely is a kick in the pants. NaNoWriMo surely is. So to kind of go forth in that spirit, this episode is going to be about three tools that will help you during NaNoWriMo. These are tools that I've used that have aided me in writing, especially. I mean, right now they are kind of essential tools, and I think that they will be essential for you too. I think that they will be very helpful. And so let's start with the first one. And this one is pretty ubiquitous now among writing circles. It's called Scrivener. Scrivener is a program that essentially is better than Word in every single way. Before I knew about Scrivener, I was using Word for a lot of my writing, and it's what people know. Word is it's common, especially if you have Windows. I don't have any Apples or Macs, so I don't know if people use Word on Macs or if there's another program that they would rather use. So sorry for all you Mac people out there. I don't know what it is, but Word was pretty ubiquitous for a long time and still is. But it's so clunky, after you've used a program like Scrivener, which by the way is a fraction of the cost of Word. Word, is something like $300 to $400, but Scrivener, on the other hand, is about $40 to $50, and it's an amazing program. I cannot recommend it to you enough. It helps you organize your writing in a way that Word could not. I mean, I would write a full manuscript in Word. I wrote my first book, The Blade Air, in Word, and it was a nightmare to try to find places, scenes that I needed to get back to. I mean, I was using Control F, the find and retrieve function, so much, and it gets very tiresome when you've got 80, 100,000 words. So Word is not useful. It's not the best tool for writers, and I think Scrivener what really sets it apart is the fact you can really organize things. You have better capabilities for outlining your work. Besides just novel writing, there are writers that use it for research papers, for blogging, um, and nonfiction. All kinds of stuff. If you're a writer, it is the tool. It's a Swiss Army knife. I talked about the organizing. You've got note cards that you can put in there that allow you to just kind of label things better, so things are better structured. Whereas with Word, it's all one long document, but with Scrivener, you have sections that you can do that will just divide things up so you can find it a lot easier. So, for instance, for my writing, I set things up in chapters and in scenes. So a chapter would be a folder in Scrivener, and within that folder, you've got different documents that correspond to different scenes in that chapter. And it lays it out so nicely where you can just go back, when was the chapter that I killed off that bad guy? Oh, that's right, it's chapter 2. So I'll just click on chapter 2 folder, and which was it, the first scene or the second scene? Oh, it's a second scene, and pull it right up. You can't do that in Word. Word is one long document, and you have to really search for when that scene and that character were being written about, and it gets very tiresome and just laborious to do. But with Scrivener, you totally cut that out. So I use it exclusively for writing my novels. I'm trying to think if I even have opened Word lately, and I can't think of a time that I have for writing novels. So the only downside to Scrivener, and you will find this out if you don't already know, is that it has a very steep learning curve. It's not easy. There's just so much functionality. You can open it up and start writing and probably kind of, stumble your way around getting chapters set up and different sections in your book set up. But there's so much power and potential in that program that it's very easy to get lost and not know how to use it. And that was my experience with it. And so for that reason, along with Scrivener, I would highly recommend Joseph Michael's Learn Scrivener Fast. If you haven't heard of Joseph Michael, he is the Scrivener coach, and he I'll have a link to him in the show notes, but he has a course that is basically just dedicated to helping you learn Scrivener fast, just as the course is called. And it just has really quick tutorials on all the different functions in Scrivener, from basic to advanced. It really digs deep into that stuff. Joseph has laid things out really super easy with different modules that go into basics and into his little ninja tricks and all kinds of stuff. There's 3 separate tiers to that course, 3 plans. There's the student plan, which is $127. There's the Rockstar plan, which is $197, and then there's the Ninja plan, which is $297. As you can imagine, the student one, it comes with the basics, everything you need to get started, understand Scrivener, and not fumble around, because you can, trust me, if you're new to Scrivener, you will fumble around a lot, and you can try to find things online and different YouTube videos and stuff, but it's not going to compare to Joseph's course. So I would highly recommend even if you got the student version with Scrivener, Scrivener's about $50, and then the student version is $127. That's still half the price of Word. So totally great investment for any writer to pick up Scrivener and also Joseph Michael's course. I'll have and like I said, the 3 tiers, it goes from basic to kind of intermediate stuff, where he talks about more deeply into some of the advanced features. And the Ninja one has a bunch of bonuses. He's got interviews and or videos with how different big name bloggers and authors use Scrivener and their tricks and tips. So it's a really great course. Highly recommend it. Full disclosure, I'm an affiliate of it, and I'll have links at the bottom or at the show notes. So check it out. I think it's a great course, and I'm on the Ninja plan, so it's been great, and I highly recommend it, and highly recommend Scrivener if you're an author. So that's tool number one. Moving on to number two. So one of the biggest things about NaNoWriMo is that you're trying to up your word count. You are trying to get as much words out as you can. I struggle with this a lot. I think a lot of writers struggle with this because we like to edit things. We like to, just kind of, we're really nitpicky. And the whole spirit of NaNoWriMo is that you are trying you're trying to lock up your editor, your internal editor, and just write. Just full out write. Doesn't matter how bad it is. And it's a liberating thing. It's an amazing thing. But then, once you've gotten to that point where you have locked up that internal editor, the next thing that you have to worry about is distractions. And there are so many distractions. You have 30 days to pump out a 50,000 word novel. And that's not an easy thing to do. If you are in school, or if you're married, or if you've got kids, all kinds of commitments. I mean, those things are already barriers to getting the word count out each day. But then there's the other stuff, where you're just on Facebook, you're on the news feed, you're on whatever, you're just on Google or Wikipedia, whatever it is. There's always an excuse for writers. We always have something that we need to look up, like, oh, what's the name of that place? And let me look it up on Google. And then, 30 minutes later, you know what I'm talking about, right? If you're a writer, you know what I'm talking about. So this tool is a great tool for preventing that distraction of the internet. It's called the Freedom app, and I'll have a link to it in the show notes. It gets rid of all that internet noise, all the distractions that you've got. So essentially, you sign up for Freedom, and it's a free to sign up, and you create a session of however length you want, and Freedom essentially cuts off all your internet on your browser. So you can't go to Facebook, you can't go to Google or whatever for however long your session is. So you'll set the timer at, an hour, and you are free from internet distraction. So it works great. You would think that it would just be a matter of willpower, of being able to disconnect the internet or whatever. But I feel like with writers, and in our current culture of just, checking the smartphone and always being online, we just cannot get offline. And one of the biggest benefits to you as a writer is to turn off the internet and just write. And the Freedom app helps you do that. It's hard to have that willpower there. And I believe it was Tim Grahl that said, rather than having this, and I'm paraphrasing, rather than having this kind of struggle of wills and having a willpower battle within yourself, just create an environment that doesn't allow you to make that bad choice of going on the internet. So the Freedom app is that thing that's going to allow you to have the right environment, not to make that bad choice of going down the Facebook newsfeed wormhole that's you're never going to get out of, black hole you're never going to get out of. So the Freedom app, it's free to sign up, like I said. There's also some premium plans that help you use it on more than one computer, because when you sign up for the free one, I believe you can only use it on like your desktop or your laptop, and it doesn't you have to go onto the site each time to create a session. But if you get one of the premium plans, you're able to basically download an app that does all that for you, and it not only restricts your internet on your laptop or desktop, but it will also restrict internet on your phone and on your iPad or any other devices. And there's different tiered plans for that. Personally, I just use the free one because I'm usually just on my laptop, and I'll just turn off my phone or whatever it is. But for some of you, it might be beneficial to have all those other devices covered for no internet while you're trying to write. And to sort of add to this, kind of restricting and being more productive in your workflow when you're writing, I would, this is kind of maybe an extra tool, but it kind of falls under the Freedom app, is incorporating the Pomodoro Technique into your workflow. I have a link on the show notes that will take you to this great video that kind of explains the Pomodoro Technique. But essentially, it's you work for 5 minutes you work for 25 minutes straight, and you turn on, you have a timer on, like an egg timer, whatever, or a timer on your phone or something. And 25 minutes straight is just you writing. And then once the 25 minutes is up, you get a 5 minute break. You can do whatever you want in that 5 minute break, browse the internet, check your email, whatever. And then once the 5 minutes are up, another Pomodoro, another 25 minutes straight writing. And you just kind of keep doing that each time until you're essentially programming your brain to do work in 25-minute chunks, 25-minute sessions, and be super productive that way, rather than maybe being productive for just 10 minutes and taking breaks. And that happens to me as a writer. Before I found out about the Pomodoro Technique, I was just all over the place with my writing. I would I just wrote 2 paragraphs, sweet, I'm going to take a break, and that break lasts for an hour. So it's not just internet, it's also just sheer laziness or whatever it might be. So the Pomodoro Technique, coupled with the Freedom app, really helps clamp down on that unproductive time, and just using 25-minute chunks of time to really pump out some good word count. Simon Whistler was actually the one that from Rocking Self-Publishing podcast that turned me on to the whole Pomodoro thing, and he has this awesome Chrome extension that I have installed called Strict Workflow. I'll have a link for that as well. Strict Workflow is very similar to the Freedom app, except it works as kind of like the Pomodoro Technique, where you have this little tomato icon in the corner of your browser, and you click it, and for 25 minutes you cannot access any sites that you put on the list of sites you should not access. So whether that's Facebook or Twitter or whatever else you're checking out, it will turn that off for those 25 minutes of your Pomodoro. And after the 25 minutes are done, you will have a 5-minute break, and then you can do whatever. Those sites will be accessible, and then turn on the 25 minutes again, and you're back in the Pomodoro mode. So Freedom app and the Pomodoro Technique, they're kind of interchangeable, but I recommend them both under this whole productivity Freedom app kind of advice for writers that are struggling with getting high word counts and staying productive and staying on task. So okay, so we're moving right along. So the last one is the ProWritingAid.com is something I use. This is more to help you after NaNoWriMo. So after you've gotten that manuscript done, it's looking good, but now comes that part that most writers hate, is editing it and going through and just fixing all that. Because if you've spent 30 days locking up your internal editor, then you're going to have a rough draft. It's going to be a rough draft. And now it's time to clean it up, polish it up, and, get it ready to send to your editor if you're self-publishing, or if you're going a more traditional route and sending it to agents or whatever, then you still want to polish it up and make it look good. So ProWritingAid is a website that allows you to copy and paste your manuscript onto kind of like a text editor, and it will allow you for free to it will show you all the mistakes, all the stuff that needs to be fixed, everything from typos to comma splices, overused words, sentence fragments, hanging participles, all that stuff. It's going to show you, it'll flag all these things, and it actually gives you options of things you want to flag. So, if your writing style lends itself more to some, grammar things here and there, then you can turn those off if you don't want to see them. And it's a really neat tool. And like I said, it's free for you to copy and paste and get the report. There's several different reports from, all the things I said, typos, overused words, grammar, syntax, all that stuff. Different reports you can look at that will tell you what needs to be fixed in the writing. And then there's also a premium version. There's like an annual premium version that allows you to edit everything on the website itself. So when you copy and paste something in there, I think there's maybe a 3,000 word limit So you can't copy and paste your entire manuscript. You can do it like chapter by chapter, which is what I do because I'm not on the premium version. But if you wanted to put more words in there, put your whole manuscript in there, the premium version would allow you to do that, and it would allow you to fix everything in the editor itself. So rather than getting all those reports and then opening up your Scrivener or where it is and do all the fixes that way, the premium version allows you to do all the fixes right in the program, and then you can copy and paste the polished version back into your word processor of choice. So it's a really handy tool. I used it for my last novel, Thy Kingdom Come, and it worked really slick. It takes a long time. I mean, especially if you're doing it for using the free version and you're doing one chapter at a time, it takes a long time. But editing takes a long time. So it's a great, I feel a great tool for those writers that have a manuscript that needs to, it's just a rough draft. You need it to get polished up, and Pro Writing Aid will help you do that. So 3 tools again: Scrivener, the Freedom app, and Pro Writing Aid. Those are the ones I use currently. I highly recommend them. I will have links to all of them, and so it'll help you through NaNoWriMo. And so let me know if those work out for you. Reach out to me. You can find me at my website, danieladorno.com. There is a contact tab at the bottom. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter, Pinterest. I think just about every kind of YouTube. I'm just trying to think of all the social media that I'm on. I'm on a lot, but the best way to reach me is on my website on the contact page. So I hope this podcast has been helpful to you, and keep on writing and get through that 50,000 words for NaNoWriMo. I'll talk to you soon.